The Incredible Hulk will not be presented this evening.
All righty, everybody. Welcome to the show. This is the DL show. Before we introduce the guest, let me just say hello to Joe. Joe, how are you doing today, my friend?
Good. Busy day at work. How is everyone doing?
Good. You're a little quiet. Is he quiet to everybody else?
That's what.
Yeah, he's kind of quiet.
How's that? Better?
All right. We got some volume.
I plugged into the wrong input. No wonder.
All right. All right. Hold on, Andrew Collins. I'll get to your questions in just a moment, everybody. Let's welcome Krellbar to the show.
Howdy, folks.
Krellbar, who is sporting the unshaven look, the trying to generate the homeless man look, which is a very nice look for him. And folks, down in the bottom right of at least on my screen, he would be where Bobby Brady sits. Is it Bobby on that side? I think it is. Anyways, we have Adam Mantell. Adam is a fellow musician and the father of Moses, the little terror in the neighborhood.
I'd say he was a delight.
He is a delight. A delight. Excellent. All right. Very good. Let me just see what that question was. David eats away. I'm playing the very first duel. I'm playing it down with any suggestions on what I should do? I don't even understand what that question is. You have a gig with a singer. I would do your set list. I don't understand the question, Andrew Collins. I would just play what you dig. It was my advice from Boogie Nights when I think Don Cheadle's getting advice from what the hell's his name? The Spanish guy in that movie.
Luis Guzman.
Luis Guzman. Thank you. Luis Guzman goes, where would you dig? Smooth jazz, yes. I've mentioned it many times before. I've taken a break. I'll probably be back sometime in August with the guitar tutorials. There's only about 1,200 lessons on my channel, so if you've gone through them all, I do apologize that you have to wait. But there will be some more coming through. I have a couple of songs I'm working on teaching, and I'll get to it when I get to it. Just haven't really been, it's a summertime, and I just don't feel like being up in this room teaching, any tips on being nervous? I would say, listen, just have a good time. People want you to succeed. No worries, Smooth Jazz. People want you to succeed. They want you to have fun. Have fun and play it. Who cares? If you screw up 10 times, you've screwed up 10 times less than I do a night or a song. I make mistakes all the time. I don't care. Anyways, I heard about that Pantera thing. What do you guys think about that? Thoughts on that Pantera tour? That's like a tribute show going around with about that Pantera thing. All right, someone's think about that. Someone's playing back me. Who has their YouTube open?
That was me.
All right.
Undone, so.
I
usually don't do that. So.
What's that?
I was going to say, I'm not really crazy about it because, if it's a tribute band, they're playing the music they love because they love Pantera so much. great, more power to them. But if it's a reunion of Pantera without Dimebag, it doesn't really work for me because so much of the charisma on stage is gone, so much of what made them a distinctive as a band, and who's just such a unusual player that it would be hard for any other guitarist to kind of step into his shoes and replace him. Even if he was able to hit all the notes, I think fans would feel the difference.
But it's going to be Zakk Wylde, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. And wasn't it also, is Phil Santinselmo singing?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't think Dimebag's up for it, from what I was told.
No.
From what I'm
told. Off his mortal coil.
He's feeling a little under the weather.
From what I'm told, they thought about exhuming him, and they said, you know what, it might be better let him rest in peace, and we'll get... No, and then Vinnie Paul is dead, too.
Yeah.
Right? So the brothers are dead.
Yeah,
yeah.
So you're gonna, from the original band, you're gonna have Phil and Rex. Rex on bass.
Right.
You have Zakk. I don't think Zakk would do it unless it was done right, because him and Dimebag were really good friends.
Yeah,
I mean, Charlie Benante on drums.
I mean, I think
Zakk
it's a tribute.
Perfectionist.
Yeah, I think it's a tribute to the band, really.
Yeah.
But I think it also gives Phil the chance to go out and perform the songs. I have to say, I was never really a huge Pantera fan until this month, if you can believe it. They play the hell. The sound of his guitar always bothered me. It always sounded like he's playing through a transistor radio. But in the gym the past month, I have Sirius, and what I found out on Sirius is Sirius. Hey, now Jan is here. Sirius owns Pandora, so now I get free Pandora, like the paid for version, and I can just say play Megadeth radio, and they play a hell of a lot of Pantera on it. So I've been hearing a lot of stuff, and I'm like, man, I really love this stuff. In fact, I think Phil Santinselmo's a better version of James Hetfield. There's a lot of similarities I hear in some of the way they phrase stuff, and I'm like, but I like Phil so much better. I'm not a Hetfield fan. I hate to break it to any. If there's Metallica fans in the crowd, I apologize. I just don't like him. I not him personally. As a guy, I'm sure he's a great guy, but the voice, when I hear Metallica songs, I'm like, I can't do this. It always just sounds like he's trying to like put something on, like he's hard.
Well,
and I'm like,
forcing it.
Yeah, it comes across a little disingenuous. Whereas when I hear Phil sing, it's like I feel like he's the real deal. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he's faking. Maybe he's forcing it. And I'm just telling you what it feels like to me.
Well, back in the day, Phil had a great voice. I mean, almost like a Rob Halford type voice. And then he just went to all the rough stuff and he blew it out.
Yeah.
Hey, Hugh Caldwell's here. Hey, Hugh. Sorry, go ahead, Adams.
Yeah, I was just going to say, it was one of the things that made Pantera distinctive. Phil had a distinctively good voice. You could tell, and it really separated them from a lot of other metal bands who might have been in the same kind of style, might have had a very flashy guitar player, but maybe might have been lacking in the vocals department. And Phil mattered.
Now, Joe, were you a Pantera fan?
I like them. I not huge. I got into them after the fact. There's a lot of songs I like. I wasn't really like, wow, this is my favorite album. That's my favorite album.
Right.
This like give me the greatest hits. But I think Dimebag's an amazing player. Phil has a great voice. So they were not my favorite, but I like. I was more of an '80s metal guy. Maiden, Priest, Anthrax, things like that.
I think that's where we're all at, really. I think, yeah. I think
I will say
I like 70s too.
I love the first two albums, Pantera. I loved them back in the day when they came out because I thought it was totally different. It was like, groove metal. By the third album, Far Beyond Driven, a couple songs I liked, then I didn't listen to them after that.
Well, when I think of like 80s metal, I kind of divide it into the early 80s and the late 80s, because the early 80s, you get the new wave of British heavy metal bands, and we all know who they are. But with the late 80s, I remember bands I liked that didn't necessarily make it big or might have been influential who are completely different. For instance, I'm originally a New Yorker, and a band I was a massive fan of that never made it big was Circus of Power. I thought they were absolutely amazing. They had a nice blues metal sound, they had twin guitar attack. good singer, and you know, they were called like sleaze metal, if you can believe that.
Well, they're from New
And
York.
and they're from New York. Eric, exactly. So it kind of goes with the territory.
Name
And,
sounds familiar.
they were really good, but they were completely different in style from, say, Iron Maiden, and who are
Sure.
much more progressive.
Right. Hugh Caldwell, if you get a chance, crank up the song Cowboys from Hell. It's a fun one. I always like that. Yeah, it's funny because Maiden seems, people think of it as like the modern or the new wave of heavy metal. And when I hear Maiden, I hear the influence of what the Scorpions were doing back in '74 on Fly to the Rainbow. A lot of that sounds like Scorpions to me. And I'm a huge Maiden. I mean, obviously, I'm a bigger Maiden fan than I am Scorpions, but I'm just saying, you can definitely hear where some of their influence. They always claim UFOs like a big influence. And UFO is one of those bands when I hear them, if I hear Doctor, Doctor, Please one more time in the gym, I'm going to start really throwing the weights around. It's annoying as hell to me. And it's long. And it's with this real big intro to the song. Like, we're going to get into this behemoth of a song. And then it's Doctor, Doctor, Please. And I'm just like, I'd rather hear Doctor, Doctor, Give Me the News. Who was that? Robert Palmer, Bad Case of Loving You.
Great song.
I saw Pantera, White Zombie, Red Rocks, Phil Spencer bitching about the sellouts Metallica were. Have you seen the early Pantera albums? I've seen the early.
Oh, like power metal and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I think Phil was very vocal with his opinions and stuff live on stage. But yeah, no, there's definitely, because Adam and I have had many conversations about Judas Priest. Now, you guys Priest fans? Joe, Priest?
Yeah, of course.
You guys? And Priest was the 70s Priest. Well, I would call it up to like 78. They had a distinctive sound. And then 79 to like 81, there's that era. And then you have the 83, 84, which is, 82, 84, which is Screaming for Vengeance and Defenders of the Faith, which is basically Screaming for Vengeance light. And then after that, you have them trying to compete in the modern metal world with Painkiller. And what was the Turbo's not bad, but Painkiller. What was the one after Painkiller we talked about?
There was Ram It Down between Turbo. And I would actually say Ram It Down is their worst album.
Yeah, Ram It Down.
That's the one with Johnny B. Good on it.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Now, does anybody in the chat know this band, Circus of Power? Because he mentioned it. Everyone kind of gleaned over it. But Krellby, your eyes lit up. Did you know this band?
I knew the name of it, and I'm going to look at them later, see what they were. I remember the name.
Well, I think their big album was called Vices, although they had a couple albums before that. Vices is when they actually made a concerted effort to try to kind of like get into a higher tier. I don't think it quite worked out for them, but it's a killer album. I love it.
And Vices was also the name of an album by Kick-Axe. You guys remember Kick-Axe out of Canada?
Yep.
Heavy Metal Shuffle and Vices. I liked. Oh, and then Joe just posted YouTube Circus of Power. So anyone that wants to see their 5 videos. Are they playing Heat Waves? I don't know what Heat Waves is. You mean the band Heat Wave? They should be. You know what? So I'm listening to Ozzy's Boneyard Deep Cuts, and I heard Fool for the City by Foghat. I thought, this, number one, isn't a deep cut, nor is it something that I would consider to be on in the hard rock format. I'm like, what the hell am I listening to this? That is what was the straw that broke the camel's back, and I went, play Megadeth Radio. I've been enjoying Megadeth Radio, I have to say.
Was it live or studio?
Which one?
Fool for the City. Fool for the City.
I think it's the recorded version. The radio.
Actually, your live one wasn't that bad.
It's all right, but still, you know what? If I want to listen to classic rock, then I'll listen to that song. But I'm putting it on because I'm in the gym and I want to hear something that's a little bit aggro, so I can get a little bit of some weights around. And I'm listening to Fool for the City. I'm like,
my personal favorite lifting song, Snowblind. I don't know why. Snowblind.
Sabbath or Ace Frehley?
Sabbath, of course.
Sabbath.
Okay. Great tune.
I don't know why it works out so well for the gym. It just does.
Volume 4 is a great record.
Yeah, if I could take changes off it, it would be perfect.
If you could take what?
If I could take changes off it, it would be perfect.
Really, you don't like changes? I find that to be.
It's a nice song. It's overplayed though.
Yeah, I don't care for it, but it doesn't bother me. I understand what you're saying, but Supernaut is so good to me. It makes up for changes. I want to reach out. That's it. All right, guys. Ozzy, Sabbath, first 8 albums. What's the order?
Oh God, I can't rank them off the top of my head.
Give me a number one.
I will be near the bottom.
Paranoid. Black
Paranoid's your number one?
Yeah. Well, he's got Iron Man on there and War Pigs.
Yeah,
right?
No, I know.
So Paranoid, Black Sabbath, man. Then I'm tossing up Masters of Reality and Sabotage.
Okay.
After that, it don't matter what falls into. I mean, I even love Never Say Dying, Technical Ecstasy, and people hate those.
I think Never Say Die is better than Technical Ecstasy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would place Technical Ecstasy at the bottom too, because Never Say Die, I mean, that's got Johnny's Blade and Junior's Eyes, which I think are both really good songs.
I think the title track is excellent. Never Say Die is a great song.
I think it's kind of like an easy riff for Tony.
Yeah, but it's great. It's a good Ozzy tune. Don't you ever, never say die. I hear it every fucking day.
Well, yeah, Ozzy sings well in it. It's just that, if you get used to Tony's riffs, then you hear Never Say Die and you think, you know what, this is too basic for him. His stuff usually has all this polish, and Never Say Die just doesn't have polish by comparison with a lot of his other riffs that he's.
It actually reminds me of Priest when I hear boom, boom, that beginning reminds me of Priest. Like, all right, Adam, what's your number one Sabbath?
I'm going to go with Masters of Reality, because my reason for picking Masters is because even though I love all of the first 4 albums equally, they're kind of like a mood thing, because it's very easy to alternate between different albums for your number one among those first 4 based on how you're feeling at the time. And Masters is just a very, very solid album, which has got some really distinct hits of theirs. So I would actually go with Masters as my choice, even though it's not the most popular.
Funny you say that, because it's not mine. And it's funny you go to number 4, because I think the 5th album is my toss-up for number 1 is either Paranoid or Sabbath Bloody for me. Those are my 2 albums that I'd have to flip a coin to see which one I like better. After those 2, I would go to the first album, and then I would go to Volume 4, then Master of Reality, and then Sabotage. And Sabotage for me, am I going insane radio? No. I'm not a fan of that song.
That's a
not good. And the other one I don't really care for is well, I don't like a lot of that record. I don't like Megalomaniac. I don't like Hole in the Sky, and I don't like Symptom. I don't like that record. I know what I love the
Hole in the Sky is Ozzy's best vocal work, I think.
I think the Thrill of It All is a great song on that album.
Agreed.
But anyways, Krellby, what your opinion on that?
Well, I'm at the point where I know a lot of the songs, but I can't really tell you every album that they're on.
So we're going to say you think We Sold Our Soul for Rock and Roll's their best album?
No. Paranoid was influential to me. That I know a lot of songs off of that one. I had that. Well, actually, my brother had it years ago and played that. And always loved the first one. I mean, the song Black Sabbath. It's like friggin'. I just love it. It's just so dark and friggin' down.
Right. Wasn't him trying to play like Holtz Mars or something? Is that what the piece was that he was trying to rip? Yeah. I mean, it's great. I mean, what can you say? Sabbath's a great band. I mean, if we include the entire catalog, I hate to break it to everybody, but Heaven and Hell would be my favorite Sabbath album.
It's a great album. Neon Nights.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's probably one song on there. Lady Evil is the worst song on the album, and it's still decent.
Yeah,
for me.
Well, it's not a bad chorus.
Better than Heaven and Hell.
Yeah, that guy.
It's
a good argument. Yeah. It's a good
Just
argument.
along with Guitar Hack.
Me and my brother used to have that argument as kids. I liked Heaven and Hell. He liked Mob Rules.
But you know what? I also love Dehumanizer. So many people forget that Dio came back for that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like Dehumanizer myself. Actually, I would even throw in a couple of the Tony Martin era albums, because Ray Gillen and Tony Martin split on The Eternal Idol, but I really like some of the songs in that album, even though I think that was supposed to be like their bottom point, that and Seventh Star. But
so other than Tony Martin's family buying those albums, you're the other guy?
I'm the other guy. Actually,
Nobody
I would say their worst album is actually Born Again.
Oh, it's terrible.
I love that album.
Are you kidding me?
Fucking love that album.
Well, Trash.
I love Ian
Trash
Gillan.
isn't that bad of a song, but Zero.
Trash
the Hero
was good. I love Zero the Hero. I just love that entire album.
You know what?
I
I
like
love Deep Purple. I love Sabbath, but they just don't mix well.
I agree. I did not care for Born Again.
Those are the only two songs I can name off of it, though.
Trashed and Zero the
Oh,
Hero.
there's Disturbing the Priest.
Priest,
Oh yeah.
Keep It Warm.
Oh, that's clever.
Hotline.
Hotline. Calling on. Oh, that was the Silvers. I'm sorry, folks. I always confuse Black Sabbath with the Silvers.
A common
Let me. Very common. Heaven and Hell. People like Heaven. I mean, Mob Rules is great. It has Country Girl, Voodoo, Slipping Away. It might have one of the greatest tunes, Falling Off the Edge of the World. I love. And I love Sign of the Southern Cross. And what's the last song? Sometimes I feel Over and Over. I mean, it's a good record.
Well, I think Mob Rules, not Mob Rules, Voodoo. Voodoo, I think, is one of their best all-time songs.
Yeah, it's great. That was my brother's favorite. Yeah. Although I always found it like a sped up version of what's the last song on the it's a long road to nowhere, and I'm leaving.
Lonely is the word.
Thank you. It reminds me of a slowed down version. I mean, a sped up version of Lonely is the Word, which I love. That's an absolute fantastic. Time Machine on Dehumanizer was a decent tune. And that was their comeback thing with Dio. Except for
you know what it is? They got Dio to stop doing all the Dungeons and Dragons shit that he was doing too much. So that's a win. Yeah.
Well, they that's really why they got rid of him for when they replaced him with Graham Bonnet and Rainbow. I think what's his name had enough of Dungeons and Dragons.
Blackmore?
Yeah. He wanted it to be more pop, so he actually did that cover song from Russ Ballard, Since You've Been Gone, on that record. And then on the next record they got what's his name singing?
Jolin Turner.
And they did another Russ Ballard song. They did I Surrender.
Oh, okay.
Which is a great song. Russ Ballard. Well, Russ wrote some great songs. I mean, he was also the singer of Argent. Hold your head up, woman. It's great. But he wrote a lot of hits he wrote Back in the New York Groove. I mean, he wrote a lot of songs. So,
well, he's got that song "God Gave Rock and Roll to You" and Kiss did a cover of that on the Revenge album.
Yep.
And I actually prefer the Kiss version.
Oh, it was. Let me get Zim in here as well. Let me just message Zim. I forgot to send him a link. Hold on, Dane. Let me get you in here if you want. If you have the if you've got the time. Hold on. I forgot to send Dane the link. Hold on. Always want to give him that option. There he is. Not it. All right. Sorry, 1 second. Boom. Done. All right. All right, Zane, I just sent you a link if you want to pop in here. Okay, I can kill that. All righty. Sorry. Voices was a great song from Russ Ballard in the 80s. You guys remember that song? Voices, I hear voices. Don't look back.
I thought you were talking about a Cheap Trick song.
No, that's You Didn't Know What You Were Looking For. Great band. But
You get the
anyways,
impression he
so
was oh, sorry, yeah.
what,
I was
what's
just going
that?
to say,
Say it again.
it just seems like Russ Ballard is kind of like a musician's musician, because I don't think Argent was actually that huge, but a lot of musicians just seem to really like Russ Ballard's songs.
Well, yeah, he wrote "Winning," which Santana covered. I'm winning, and he did. Santana also did "Nowhere to Run" that he wrote. Frida Lindstad did "There's Something Going On" that he wrote. America did "You Can Do Magic." What else did Russ Ballard write? He wrote "God Gave Rock and Roll to You." He wrote in Argent, but when Kiss did it, they added lyrics, so they got songwriting credit on it as well.
That's a very Gene Simmons thing to do.
Oh, yeah. And Krellbot disappeared. Oh, there he goes.
I'm back.
Instant replay, exactly. The Dan Hartman song. Mother Love Bones. I don't know the Mother Love Bone version of. I don't know anything by Mother Love Bone, and I've heard the name. Oh, Stone. Oh, I see what Zim was saying. Stone Cold. I thought I knew you so well. Remember that song? I liked Joe Lynn Turner.
Oh yeah,
Well,
Yeah, he's great.
It's fair to say that with Rainbow, there's no bad vocalists. There's only good choices. They're all different, and they're all good, and they're all distinct.
Yeah, I mean, it changed the sound of that band, and they have a concert that's on YouTube with what's that singer's name? The newest guy they got.
Doogie White.
Yeah. I thought that was good. He did like he does like all three singers stuff. And I thought he was good. I enjoyed him. But, Richie's one of those. I mean, let's put it this way. Are you guys Deep Purple fans?
Oh, yeah.
I own the greatest hits album, basically.
They have a greatest hits?
Yeah.
I think that greatest hits is called Machine Head, if I'm not mistaken. No, I'm kidding.
I'm actually a Who
Joe
Do We
Lynn
Think
Turner
We Are fan.
What's that?
I'm actually a Who Do We Think We Are fan over
That's So Am I.
Machine
That's
Head.
my favorite with the original guy. With the famous five. That's my favorite as well. Super Trooper, Mary Long, Smooth Dancer, Woman from Tokyo, Rat Bat Blue. I love that record.
That's an awesome album.
Yeah. I like it better. I'll tell you why I like it better than Machine Head. I don't care if I ever hear Lazy ever again. It is. Richie has a new YouTube channel starting. I have to tell you, on YouTube, guys, Jan's piping in. He's a big Purple fan. Here's a question for you. What's a better album? Fireball or Stormbringer? And the answer, folks, just to give you a little hint, is Stormbringer.
I love them both, but Stormbringer is amazing.
Fireball has one song. That opening track is it. After that, they blow their nut. That thing is like Peter North, Fireball. After that, it's like, what do you got left? What could you possibly have in that arsenal after that song? There's nothing. That record falls flat. My Woman from Tokyo. Yeah, I mean, I think that I tell you that I think that Stormbringer record's fantastic. Like, I love Hold On, and Stormbringer's a great tune. Great record. Great record. You know, what was I thinking about today? I was thinking about how, like, I've never been a huge Robert Plant fan, but I love Zeppelin. They're my favorite band. But, like, I listen to Coverdale in his heyday, and I think Coverdale has a better voice. But he never had...
Damn straight.
What's that?
I said damn straight.
But he never had the record or the songs, although I think an underrated album and probably the best rock album of the 80s, in my opinion, is Whitesnake Slide It In.
Oh, yeah.
I love that record. And I also think Ready and Willing is underrated. Go ahead. What was that, Adam?
I think part of what distinguishes Robert Plant's career from David Coverdale's is the fact that Jimmy Page was just a really good producer in addition to being a good guitar player. And so they were able to do things in the studio that whoever it was David Coverdale worked with just couldn't do. Because you look at his backup bands in his early years before he broke big, and they're all good players, but there's no one really
But it's
taking
more like,
care of them.
yeah, they're not even on the same level as production as Zeppelin. That's for sure. But also, I mean, I don't think the songs are there. I mean, I think Ready and Willing's a great record. Fool for Your Love, and that's a great record. And but Coverdale's voice was like really amazing, especially on songs like Slow and Easy. I mean, that was a great record.
Slow and Easy is a great song, but it sounds a little bit too much like an anthem. I'm like, and that's the kind of a kicker that really beats you up when you're a musician, because Led Zeppelin songs never sound like anthems. The bands who are trying to be like Zeppelin, they try to write the anthems to make these huge hits. And so David Coverdale is writing anthems, and they're just not as good artistically, and fans can tell.
Oh, yeah. Hugh Caldwell says Coverdale was a better singer, but not now. And now he's not even a better talker. I mean, he's horrendous. And I saw Coverdale in 2010, and I wish I didn't. But thank God he opened up for Judas Priest doing the British Steel album, because Priest was on point. Halford brought it in. But Coverdale couldn't sing half the time he was holding the mic out to the audience. This is back in 2010. I see him doing it in videos if you watch on YouTube. And yeah, Slide It In. Here's the funny thing about Sykes on Slide It In, Cheech. There's two versions, and here comes Dane Zim in here. So, Cheech, on Slide It In, there were two versions of the album. There's the UK release, and there's the American release. The American release has the added Sykes guitar solos. The UK release is all before Sykes got in the band. You'd find that Sykes had very little input on that album when you listen to the Slide It In UK version. You're going to be like, did Sykes even play on this record? It's very little. It's very little. Sykes is really all over the self-titled album, but he really came in the very end when Slide It In was already done. And he just did a few things, but mainly that stuff. If you listen to the UK version, Sykes isn't any. It was before Sykes joined the band, and it's like I said, you'll see.
I had a cassette tape. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Go ahead. Oh, okay. Well, I had a cassette tape of the song "Here I Go Again." Here I go again, and they used the different lyrics. So instead of like a drifter, they use the lyric like a hobo. Yeah,
that's the version that's on it's the what's that? Saints and Sinners album. They recorded it in '82 on Saints and Sinners, and in fact, "Crying in the Rain" is also on that album. And they re-recorded both things for the '87 album. For the eponymous, if you will, if I could use the industry term. Yeah, he had his hands all over. Well, in '87, he was the guitar player in the band, so he wrote "Still of the Night," and that's all his playing, except for the solo in "Here I Go Again" was Adrian Vandenberg. I believe they had already fired Sykes at that point. Mm-hmm. And by the end of that album, and they released the solo with there's two versions you can hear of "Here I Go Again," but the famous solo, the one that everyone knows, that's the version with Adrian Vandenberg playing the solo.
Yeah. From what I know, Sykes is the whole album except for that solo.
That's correct.
Well, I was just
you are correct, sir.
I was just going to say that I'm sure Sykes missed the paycheck, but like I saw Blue Murder, like his band afterwards, when they warmed up for Billy Squier of all people, and it just seems like listening to older Whitesnake versus that one record that I had back in the '80s, that he actually got to be himself more as an artist, is with Tony Franklin and Carmine Apiece.
Oh, Blue Murder was excellent. Yeah, they were a great band. And I love Tony Franklin on the fretless bass. He was awesome. He told me a funny story. Sorry. What were you saying?
I was just saying they were a fun band. They were good to listen to.
And so Tony Franklin did a clinic for me at West LA Music. At the time, he was the rep and clinician for SWR when SWR still existed. And he came in and we were talking about the firm, and he told me this story how one time he was in New York with Jimmy Page, and they walked into a club and Jaco Pastorius was playing. So they sat to watch Jaco play, and Jaco was like, Jimmy Page, get up here, and called Jimmy Page on stage to play. So Jimmy Page gets on stage and says something like, all right, but don't play any of that jazz shit. Which I find very funny.
If Jimmy Page is in your audience, it's a good idea to say, hey, man, come on up. Right?
Yeah. Well, fucking Jaco, man. I mean, I think everybody in the world would love to say they played with Jaco too. You know? There was one thing when working in a music store, when I worked in a music store, the one thing that would drive me nuts is when somebody would pick up a bass and instantly start trying to play Jaco stuff. And I'm like, come. It's like the guitar player's Stairway to Heaven. I'm like, no. Don't play your Jaco riffs in here. Get the hell out of here. You want to come in here, you play. I want to hear you thumping just the low E from Running with the Devil, or you're out of here.
Actually, no, I had heard it once a long time ago that when Richie Blackmore auditioned Bob Daisley to be the bassist for Rainbow, he had him play 5 minutes of consecutive 16th notes without missing a beat. That should be your litmus test if they're going to play the bass in your store.
Yeah, that's a good one. Now, did you read that in the book?
No, I'd heard that separately. But there's always stories about Richie Blackmore being a hard ass to someone somewhere.
Could Richie Blackmore do that on the guitar?
Maybe, but then he kind of like go into some kind of semi-classical thing.
Did Bob play with the pick? Because with the pick, that'd be a lot easier.
He said he played with the pick. Yeah. I don't know. I've always preferred the sound of the fingers rather than the pick, just because I prefer the softer sound of the bass. That's just a personal preference.
Yeah, but sometimes, I mean, Chris Squire had to have played with a pick, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
Because there's no way you're going to get that attack on that bass the way he played it. You have to play with a pick, especially like Heart of the Sunrise. That has to be a pick.
I actually heard Holy Diver today coming into work, and that bass guitar is mixed so loud on that
great
song.
I love that. I love that mix.
I'm telling you, this has got to be the loudest bass guitar mix that any song like has ever used. That
guitar sound is horrible.
My problem with most hard rock mixes and mixes in general is the drums are usually mixed too low. And if you look at big bands or albums that were huge, like Zeppelin, of course, the drums are never mixed too low. They're right up in front.
Right.
Fleetwood Mac, Rumors, those drums are in your face, and they sound great. Another band whose drums are always perfect is the Deftones. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Deftones, but the White Pony album is phenomenal. But those drums are right up front. I was listening to something today. It might have been Pantera, and I was like, this would be so much more effective if these drums were up like 3 dB. It would just be so. Actually, I just noticed.
You know, a good drum song for you, probably Firewoman by The Cult. I was listening to it the other day, and I was thinking, hey, this is the ultimate stripper pole song. And B, those drums are throughout the whole song. They overwhelm almost everything. That's your drum song.
Well, I just want that kick and snare to be loud, you know? It's like, another great one was like a Priest. I think on the British Steel album, those drums are loud. And I like it. I don't think he's much of a drummer, though. That's the problem with Priest. What was that guy's name?
Dave Holland, I think you're thinking.
You're right. Wasn't he? Did he become like? He went to jail, right?
He was a pedo.
I think something bad happened to him.
Yeah.
He was a pedo.
Gross.
So I tend to. Sorry.
I was thinking he was just the drummer that could kind of hold down the groove, and the first guy that kind of came up with the band, and he wasn't phenomenal, but he was good enough to get the job done and make it, steady and rocking.
I heard a song today, "The Devil and I" by Slipknot. And Joey's drumming is just, he's so fucking good. Pardon my French, folks, and trust me, that's not French. But he is ridiculous. That guy, when he goes from playing just a straight beat to those blast beats, it's seamless. And it's just, he's great. No Slipknot fans here, huh? I'm getting complete silence. Crickets. Can I hear the crickets, please?
No,
that guy
pass away? What's that guy's name?
Yeah, Joey Jordison passed away. He did.
Yeah, he's gone. He sat in. I saw a video where he sat in with Metallica one time years ago, just off the cuff. They needed somebody to fill in tonight, and he said, "Okay, I'll show up."
He played with He sat in with Sabbath. The guys, though, his playing is so insane. Like, he's so pocket and so metal. I mean, he's got that double kick thing coming in just in the right spots. He's very tasteful. I think they were, I mean, that's an underrated band, I think Slipknot was. Especially the All Hope Is Gone album.
I've
Underrated.
never been crazy about Corey Taylor's voice.
See, I think Corey's great at going from Cookie Monster to melodic. And he's way more melodic in his other band, Stone Sour. 30-30 150 is a killer tune. I mean, but I do think that, like, that, well, you say Slipknot was huge, but I don't think I think they were huge for like in Europe, and they also did like a lot of the festivals. They were always the headliner in the festivals because they put on a show, but I don't think people enough know their songs. You know?
It's not like that.
I'm not very familiar with them. I mean, I hear them on rock radio, and I don't even realize what I'm listening to or who I'm listening to.
All right. Oh, Jay Santiago said Lars had a panic attack, and Joey played the show.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, he's a sick drummer. That band was a good band. I think they're good players in that band. You know, it's one of those.
I just thought it was cool that Corey sat in with Steel Panther and helped them record Death to All But Metal. So,
oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah.
Those guys are fun.
That was a funny video. What was the girl's name that was in that video with them? And she's like, "Oh, I get it. Death to all but metal." And they're like, no, Death to all but metal.
Right.
And she's like,
now, I've seen them probably 25, 30 times, but it was when before they were Steel Panther, when they were
Monday nights at the Viper, huh? Was it Monday nights they would go?
Monday nights at the Viper Room. You're damn right. When they were Metal Shop.
Yeah.
And then they went across the street to the Roxy, and they were Metal School. And then they moved to the Key Club and became Steel Panther. And I seen them once as Steel Panther over there. But that show was out of hand. I mean, it was like, you talk about when I've seen him as Metal Shop, it was fun. It was a fun night, but it wasn't like craziness. When I seen him as Steel Panther the first time they played that Key Club, that was a zoo. That was like, this is taking off. Uh-oh.
Close the door, buddy.
Oh, let's get Moses up on camera. Let's get him in. Here he comes. The terror of all terrors.
Well, I'm getting a cameo from both kids.
Hey.
Okay, say hi quickly, then you got to go, okay?
Hey, Moses.
Yes, they can.
He can't hear me. Ask Moses what I'm doing when I smoke cigars.
Well, we're doing a podcast, love.
He'll say relaxing.
Hi, Dave.
Hi, Moses.
No,
Hi, Sophie.
I'm doing this right now, okay? Moses, you got to go out, buddy.
Moses, get your sword. Show everybody how you hit daddy.
I want to have my podcast. Go on out, please. Go on out. Close the door behind you, please. Thank you.
It's fun to ask kids like what their favorite band is or what their favorite current song is.
Well, he likes iron. He keeps going into my garage because I keep a Amazon Echo in there and Alexa, and he's always shouting, "Alexa, play Iron Man." I'm like, come on. Every time he just goes in, I'm like, I was listening to that, Moses. And he's just like, so I have to always tell Moses, I say, what am I doing? If I'm smoking a cigar and he's like asking me to play some game, I go, I go, what am I doing when I'm smoking a cigar? He goes, relaxing. I'm like, yes.
Well, I'll tell you a funny story because Sophie's favorite song is actually TNT. And it's pretty hilarious when you see this little girl just kind of bopping along to Bon Scott.
Hilarious.
And
That's the thing about ACDC. They were able to get the guys involved because it was hard rock. They also were they were able to get the girls involved. Chicks love ACDC.
Yeah, they were a good band.
And so that's the key. If you can get both of them involved, the guys and the girls, you're onto something.
Lock the door, Moses.
That kid is too cute.
You know what to do, buddy. Lock the door. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, AC/DC is also one of those bands, replaces a singer, and I think puts out two of their best albums. Not in a row, though.
For those about to rock,
That's the one I would say is not one of their best albums.
Yeah.
I like the one before. I like Back in Black and Flick of the Switch.
I actually prefer Jailbreak.
That's a great tune too.
The EP? I don't know.
Jailbreak.
The song.
Oh, it's a good tune. There's this. What's the one I heard today? You know what? I'll tell you, there's a couple of AC/DC songs with. So I used to entertain the argument of who was better, Bon Scott or Brian Johnson. I have stopped entertaining that question now because Sirius Satellite seems to want to play the studio version, which is horrendous. She's Got Balls, the live version, which is 9 minutes of nonsense. And there's another song. Is it She's a rocker, the rocker, whatever it is. I just can't. I can't listen to it anymore. It's like the three worst Bon Scott songs they have now buried into my brain. And I think Highway to Hell is a fantastic record. I think Powerage is a fantastic record. She's Got Balls. No, I never want to hear that song again. It's horrendous.
Right. It's not good. It was a joke to begin with.
Yeah, it's just a Blue Nile fan. I in fact, the other day I put on Blue Nile radio, and the first song that came on. In fact, Adam's kids were over, and the first song that came on was "Running Up That Hill" from Kate Bush, which is now the big Stranger Things? I have no idea. I don't watch that show. I love Thin Lizzy. In fact, hold that thought, because Adam's a huge Thin Lizzy fan. Hugh's out in Glasgow, Scotland. He's asking if any of us are Thin Lizzy fans.
I am.
Yeah, you're a huge fan, I would say.
Well, yeah. The funny thing is that you listen to the Jailbreak album, which is their big album, and their biggest song on it, "The Boys Are Back in Town," is not even the best song on the album. I'm like, to me, it doesn't make sense why that's their big hit, when you could probably pick at least 3 or 4 songs on that album that are better than that. I like the Cowboys song. I think you do
Cowboy
too.
song's fantastic.
Like Jailbreak is a better song. Emerald is a better song. Fight or Fall is a better song.
You know who did I know what I wanted to bring up earlier. Today, I'm listening to Anthrax doing a cover of "Got the Time." You guys remember the song by Joe Jackson?
Yep.
Joe
Jackson.
Right. Great record. And so Anthrax did a cover of that. Anthrax also covered "London" by the Smiths, which Hugh Caldwell is probably the only person in this room that knows the song "London" by the Smiths. Fantastic song. And Anthrax version was awesome. They also covered Cowboys song from Thin Lizzy, which I love their version. And I think it was during the era when John Bush was the singer of Anthrax when they did Cowboys song. And they also did "Love Her All I Can" by Kiss. They covered it. All great versions. I thought Anthrax, the John Bush Anthrax I liked. I would probably say when the John Bush Anthrax came out, Anthrax when they replaced Joey Belladonna with John Bush. I liked them better. But then John Bush left, and they bring Joey Belladonna back and worship music and For All Kings, and I think that's the best version of Anthrax there is. Back with the original singer.
You know, the problem with Joey Belladonna is that he doesn't really have a very distinctive voice. He's like, for my part, like I actually think my favorite work of theirs is "I'm the Man," and that's just kind of a joke song.
Well, you know, the early Joey Belladonna stuff is way different than like Breathing Lightning or The Devil You Know, because his voice, as a matured voice, I think his voice is outstanding. Like, I never liked his voice in the early records. Cry for the Indians. Or I Am the Law. I Am the Law. Like, I mean, it's a lot of shouting and stuff. Now I think he's really singing his ass off. Those last two records, I think, are something to contend with. Somebody's bringing up Black Rose as a favorite. Were you a Black Rose fan?
That's mine too.
I would actually pick Johnny the Fox
as your favorite Tin Lizzy record.
Yes.
All right.
What bugs me a little about Thin Lizzy is you just hear the stories about Phil, the lead singer, and him partying at the Rainbow and doing heroin until he can't walk and just over partying himself. And it gets a little agitating when you got a great band like that and everybody in the world wants to work with this guy. And then he just, gives up on life.
Live a failure at age 36.
Yeah, it's sad.
Oh, you ever hear the story about his mother going to visit him? She doesn't believe he does drugs, and then she sees his feet because that's where he injected everything into his feet.
Oh my God.
And she was like, that was like when she got the sinking feeling that her boy ain't gonna make it.
Yeah.
He was too good to live.
Too young to die, too drunk to live. Was that
that was on
that's an English
Alcatraz
song, isn't it?
Live Sentence? Yeah.
Alcatraz? Too young
Oh,
to die, too drunk to live.
That's one of my all-time favorite live albums.
And there was a
Alcatraz
song.
is still Yngwie's best band.
What's that?
I was gonna say Alcatraz is still Yngwie's best band.
I agree. That first record is the only record with Yngwie is fantastic.
And he was so much more articulate when he was playing with them. I mean, later on, his playing got a little sloppier, if you want to call that.
Was that the Graham Bonnet singer?
Yeah. Bigfoot. I always loved that solo in Bigfoot.
There's so many good songs in that. Krina Kuri, General Hospital, Jet to Jet.
Oh, yeah.
Jet into jet.
Hiroshima, Mon Amour.
Oh, love that song.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
It'll be fantastic. Sorry.
I was just going to say, it seems like Yngwie can play anything that anybody else can play, but he can't write his own songs.
I think he co-wrote those with Bonnet, didn't he?
Well, let me rephrase. Like, he's just not really a good writer. I mean, he clearly needs somebody to work with. He can't just write his own songs and have a great song.
Well, no, because everything is like a setup for the harmonic minor scale. I mean, that's just everything, after a while, everything starts to sound the same. And that's the problem. That was what was cool about playing in Alcatraz, because the songs were kind of tailored around Graham Bonnet was the leader of the band. And it was tailored around his voice and his songs. And so now he has to kind of play and weave around something that might not be as comfortable as just sitting there playing A harmonic minor and E harmonic minor and F sharp harmonic minor. And D minor.
He wrote by himself. He wrote Liar. That was on the Trilogy album.
Trilogy is his best solo record.
Oh, no doubt. Yeah.
Queen in Love.
With, I Am a Viking.
I'm a Viking, I think, is on Marching Out, isn't it?
Yep.
Okay, yeah.
That was Disciples of Hell.
That was Jeff Scott singing.
Yep.
And I think
you know what Alcatraz does really well? Sorry.
Go ahead.
What I was going to say is that what Alcatraz did really well, actually, by way of contrast to Dio, is that with Alcatraz, you had a bunch of really talented musicians who were all being really talented and showing how good they are at the same time. By way of contrast, when you've got Dio with some of his earlier hits, the music is actually kind of basic, so it can highlight his voice. And the songs like Holy Diver are still great songs, but they're kind of easy. Whereas what Yngwie is doing in, say, Island of the Sun is still kind of hard to play. You can see how skillful he is. So I would say that good thing. And like,
I mean, I think, yeah.
That makes sense.
You know, I never cared so much for Vivian Campbell's playing. I thought his lead playing was just always, I don't know. If I were producing that record, I would say, can we do it another take?
He was trying to play Gary Moore, and he wasn't quite getting there.
That's and I would have just had him pull it back a little bit. But like songs like Straight Through the Heart's a great tune on that record. And Shame on the Night's a great tune. But the Yngwie stuff on that Alcatraz, I think, is just really fresh for that time. Like, nobody was doing anything like that. Unfortunately for us, bands like Judas Priest tried copying it a little bit. I think is it Painkiller? What's the song that starts off with where he starts playing the sweet picking in the beginning, and it's just like not really articulated well by Priest. Is that Painkiller?
Well, there's sweet picking in the solo.
In the beginning of the song, it's like,
but the song.
Oh no, it's Painkiller. Yeah. Right where you squeak. Oh yeah. Yeah, maybe it's in the solo. Oh my God. And it's like not even in good time. It's like, it's just bizarre.
It's not. I appreciate them trying it though.
Don't try it. Just either do it or don't do it.
Well, you and I talked about this today because they don't have anything to prove.
They had nothing to prove. It was Yngwie's thing. Do your own thing. I mean, listen, as much as Yngwie's sweet picking and stuff was impressive, I listened to fucking Rapid Fire, man. Rapid Fire makes me pumped up. Riding on the Wind is another great one with some lead playing that's fantastic. You don't need to try to do what Yngwie does.
Electric Eye is my favorite solo.
Another great one. But that's what I'm saying. Glenn Tipton didn't need to try to show that he could do an Yngwie suite because he couldn't. And you could tell he's doing it on a guitar with a humbucker, and he's not really muting anything. So it's just all. When I hear that Painkiller song,
up too.
I need a painkiller when I hear that song. I go into instant migraine.
Well, it sounds like what's his name, Gonzo from the Muppet Show singing at the beginning.
It does. I never thought of it. It does sound like Gonzo, except Gonzo might be better. And I'm a huge Halford fan, folks. Don't get me wrong. Like, no one's going to tell you right now that one of the perfect side of an album is side one of Point of Entry. I love that record. You know, but here's my question, guys. How can the Judas Priest make a record like British Steel, which is fantastic? Then they come out with Point of Entry. Side one is unfucking real, and side two is barely good. All the Way, Yes You Can. Those songs stink.
Like I would guess that has nothing to do with the artistry. I think they were probably told, you need to tour at this time, so you need to have an album out now. So
I'm sure.
Put out what you can, and that just took away an opportunity for them to really craft good songs.
Was it You Say Yes? You Say Yes.
Could have been leftovers from British Steel, too.
Yeah,
that made up
the leftovers.
And then, yeah.
You know,
it's like they wrote all the songs for our first side, and then they said, well, we need to fill this up quick. Oh, how about these?
You know, we talked, I think we might have touched on this before, but I'm a huge Journey fan. And folks, I'm gay. No, I'm kidding. But anyways, I'm a huge Journey fan. And when Escape came out, every song was great. When Frontiers came out, Frontiers was supposed to have all kinds of songs on it that the label took off and said, you need to give us a few other songs because we're going to use these later. Only the Young, Ask the Lonely. Those were supposed to be on Frontiers. They saved them for movie soundtracks and sabotaged what I think one of the band's biggest selling albums. I mean, the album may have sold 5 million, but it could have sold like 25 million, like Escape.
Well, Only the Young actually had Steve Perry's vocals on Only the Young are actually a little bit worse than they were on Frontiers. I mean, his voice had been degrading
ever since he
joined the band.
Yeah, it was.
It's the same album.
Because Only the Young was on the Vision Quest soundtrack,
right? But it was recorded for the album Frontiers.
It was recorded for Frontiers because Okay, because maybe I have to re-listen to it because
It was originally
his
released.
voice sounds
Yeah.
worse.
The album was done, and they were like, "No, we're going to take these songs," and those songs were done. "Ask the Lonely" and "Only the Young" were used later, but "Frontiers" was already those were already recorded for that record. That was how it was supposed to come out. So they really sabotaged what I think a great album by trying to milk out as much money as they could by putting them on soundtracks and releasing them as singles elsewhere, which I think sucks, because I think a band puts out an album as a vision of like, here's a body of work that we've finished that we want to put out. And to have somebody else come in and go, yeah, that good song you have on side 2, we're going to take it because we don't want it. It's like ridiculous.
We don't want you to be too good, is what you're saying.
We don't want you to be too successful with this album. There's going to be a movie with Linda. What was her name?
Fiorentino.
Was that who it was in that movie? I have
Yeah.
no idea. Matthew Modine. We're doing a picture with Matthew
Vision Quest.
Modine. Does it have Betsy Russell? No, that was Private School. I love Betsy Russell.
No, she was in Gotcha before Vision Quest with Anthony Edwards.
Absolutely. And Alex Rocco.
Alex Rocco.
Alex Rocco played Anthony Edwards' father.
Okay. Is that the guy that was in that's
He's
Mo
Mo-
Green?
Yeah. I love Alex Rocco.
I'm disappointed with Journey because at the height of their career, their lead singer decides to retire. And we could have had so much more out of that band.
I think they screwed
And
up the band
guys
by
are
giving
allowed
them
to
such power.
retire, but I mean, come on, man. Balls up a little bit.
Man.
Give us another album or two, and let's go tour.
Well, he fired half his band during the Raised on Radio record. Which I thought was kind of, I don't know, shitty.
How could he fire the band
Yeah,
when he wasn't actually the band founder?
Because the manager, after a while, basically backed him and basically let him do what he wanted, and he gave him the reins.
Yeah. Actually, speaking of like band trivia with Journey, I was thinking about this the other day. Do you guys remember a band called Hardline? They had like one single called Hot Sherry or something like that. And I think this was Neil Sean's band after Journey broke up.
I remember him.
And I couldn't help but think that after a few years of being in Journey and playing all this kind of easy listening music by comparison, he wanted to actually play in a real rock band. So he plays with this band with a bunch of like 20-year-olds, and he makes this one really killer song with them, and then they don't sell any records, so he leaves the band. But you can hear his singing guitar sound is completely distinctive because basically he sounds a little bit like Santana for obvious reasons, and you're like, that's Neil Sean. And
But he also did that band HSAS with Sammy Hagar.
That was a good one.
Kenny
And then he also did a record with Jan Hammer. Didn't he do the Sean and
That's right.
Hammer?
Sean.
Oh, yeah.
Lies, No More Lies.
No More Lies.
I think Neil's a great player. Great player.
And in that video with Jan Hammer, they had a little heart. On the album cover, they had a little heart with a sword through it or something.
That's right.
And in the video, he flexed his arm. He's got this little tiny arm, but he's flexing, and the little heart tattoo is like moving around and stuff. It's really cheesy.
He didn't have a rose tattoo, though, if you noticed.
That's
Like-
that says
like
I
one-
Heart Wanda.
No, like that Paul Stanley has.
Actually,
Yeah.
I hear
They
that
had
he's
some
actually a
cheesy
luthier.
videos.
Oh, he also
Journey
did
is-
Bad English. Mikey Newman says Bad
that's
English.
right. Yeah.
I remember them. That was a bad band.
Well, it's John Waite. They had that. They did the one hit that songwriter.
When I
they
See
only
You
needed
Smile.
one song.
When I
Yeah.
see you smile like that.
Yeah, who
Yeah,
wrote
Bad
that? Was
English
that
only
Holly?
needed
That
one
was probably.
song.
I would have thought that was John Waite. That's
No, I think it's Holly Knight. Look, find out who wrote that. It's either Holly Knight or Diane Warren. It's one of those songwriters that writes everything. Somebody asked me what I thought of Bad English. I said, I think
Diane
good.
Warren. Diane Warren.
It is Diane Warren. Boom, Dave, out of the park again. Hey now, Tim Thomas is here. Anyways, let me repeat that horrible joke. Somebody asked me what I thought of Bad English, and I said, I think's them good. Yeah. All right. A shoot and a miss, Sal. My buddy Sal. That's his joke.
Those supergroup bands like that only needed one song. It's like, hey, I got one song. Let's bring in Neil Sean. Let's bring in all these, rock stars. We got one song. We'll go tour it. We'll make the album. We'll sell 1 million copies. We'll go tour it for 18 months, and then we can all go back to what we were doing previously.
There are a lot of bands like that.
But let's look at the supergroup Asia. That record was fucking great. It's a great record.
I love that record.
Time Again. I'll say this right now. Time Again is one of the greatest tunes. Is up there with any Yes song. Asia was great.
And I'll say this, probably Steve Howe's best guitar tone out of his whole catalog. I thought he had a pretty good tone on that.
Yeah. It wasn't bad for Steve Howe. Actually, I think his best guitar tone is on the album Drama. The last album with Trevor Horn singing, really the last of the 80s. Of the 70s, I mean. I think it was maybe 1980, actually.
And his guitar playing wasn't just chord over chord over chord all the way through the song. He'd go, he would play little lead licks through every song.
He's a great player.
Yeah.
Great player. But those early Yes records, his tone is terrible. But I love him still. I mean, I love Close to the Edge is a fantastic record. 3 songs.
I think the Asia album wasn't contrived the way these later supergroups were. I think that's the difference. They actually wanted to play together, not just like buy another car for each of them.
Right.
I think that's probably the difference.
Yeah.
And I don't even think they were really, you can call them a supergroup, because I mean, you have like John Wetton was from what band?
King Crimson.
King Crimson, and then he also played with I think he was in Uriah Heep. Yeah, Uriah Heep. I think he
was in UK too.
Right. So, I mean, I wouldn't call him, he wasn't like a star player, you know what I mean? He's not like an A player. And then you have, I mean, he's a great player, but I'm saying he's not like the fame of like Neil Sean and John Waite, the frontmen of
Jeff Downs from the Buggles.
Well, Jeff Downs also played in Yes on the Drama album.
Yeah.
And who else was on that Asia record?
Carl Palmer from ELP.
I would call him probably the biggest hitter in the band. And then you had Steve Howe from Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But, before that, when that band came out, if you asked any girl to sing a Yes song, they'd look at you and go, what?
Never happened.
No. Now they can all say, Owner of a Lonely Heart, and that'd be it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But
actually, the people will say, I want to know what love is. That's what they'd say.
No, that's Foreigner.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, exactly. That's how they would get them mixed up.
Did you like any of the newer Yes stuff? I didn't like Owner of a Lonely Heart, but I like Changes.
I like Changes, and I like what's the one that goes, I can see no sense
Leave It.
Leave It was great. Yeah. One down, one to go in another town, one more show.
The album was perfect. I thought that
you
was
like that
perfect record? Beginning to end, I thought that was a perfect album.
Cinema. Yeah, I mean, it was Fragile's great. Fragile's awesome. Heart of the Sunrise, Roundabout, South of Heaven. I like Yes. I think they're a great band. Although I think the funny thing is I've listened to maybe 10 times in my life. I couldn't sing any song or tell you what they are. The Relayer album and the album after Topographic Oceans, but they're good records. I couldn't sing one thing. I think Gates of Delirium is one of them. I can't remember. But they were good.
You got to check Mikey.
All right, go ahead.
Yeah, when they came out with that 4 CD box set or whatever, they really screwed the pooch on it because they put a lot of like Trevor Rabin's band before Yes. They put a song in that. It was just filler, and there was so much good songs they could have put on it.
Yeah.
I actually never liked Yes.
You didn't like them, huh?
So for you, it was no.
It was they just never really fueled my engine. I don't know what it was. Maybe it was the voice. Maybe it was just the beat. At the end of the day, when you're listening to rock music, you want to be able to tap your foot and hum along. I could just never do it with them.
It's total
You know,
cat
those
abuse.
singers back in the day when we were young, you would hear those guys and they were like a tenor, or they would sing very high, like John Anderson or whatever his name is in Yes. And sometimes you're like, why am I listening to some band where the lead singer sounds like a girl? The first concert I ever saw was Styx, opened for Uriah Heep. And so
Nice.
you got Tommy Shaw. It was the very first Tommy Shaw tour. It was the Equinox album. And him and James Young are up there, and Dennis DeYoung, and they're all just singing like girls when you're a 14-year-old kid. It's like, why are these guys just singing like girls? They sound
Well,
like
JY didn't
girls.
really sound like a girl.
No,
Actually,
yeah, that's true.
I
He had
used to
Miss
like the stuff
America.
JY
And,
sang.
yeah.
Funny story. I actually saw Uriah Heep a few years ago in New York, and only their guitar player is actually left from their big lineup.
Yeah, Mick
And
Rocks.
yeah, so basically they're just a guitar rock band now. Now, my favorite Uriah Heep albums are the one where Ken Hensley was the dominant player. Like, I love the Demons and Wizards album because I love the song The Wizard and Rainbow Demon. These are great, in Circle of
Like the
Hands.
first 4 or 5 albums.
Yeah.
Who was the lead singer at the time?
Dave Brock, I'm going to say. I mean, he had this big, powerful voice. He was the guy with the mustache who was an alcoholic. And he just
Right.
had that great booming voice. And
Sunrise.
yeah.
Right?
And like
And
he
a
did the
new
July
day's
Morning.
break. Yeah. Dave
Actually,
Byron. David
Byron, that's right.
Byron.
Killer
Yeah.
voice. And
Yeah.
actually, I remember the big moment in the show when I saw them was when they did Stealin' off the Sweet Freedom album. And interestingly enough, because they're one of the first bands into Eastern Europe after the wall came down, they have this massive following among Eastern Europeans. So myself, my wife, and about 1,000 people from Poland who had emigrated to New York were in the audience. And so they had this diehard Eastern European fan base that would go with them everywhere. And these guys were, and they're all like 70 years old now, so they all got white hair and they can't hear themselves play anymore. But it was kind of a fun show.
The one time I saw them again, it was I think it was 1976, and Styx was the opening band. And then Ken Hensley, who's the keyboard player, right? And he used to play his big old keyboard and he'd rock it back and forth and everything, and killer keyboard tones. But I believe it was called the Firefly album. And so he was strumming his acoustic and being the lead singer. And I'm like, and it was all good and everything, but I'm like, is this even Uriah Heep? Doesn't seem right.
Jan says he's a big Uriah Heep fan, and Jan's also in the chat. Jan is he says the biggest in Ukrainian. He's the Ukrainian I was telling you about. Adam's wife is from Ukraine.
Well, yeah, like she her family came to America when she was very, very young. But yeah, Ken Hensley, I mean, he's a good musician in general, rest in peace. But he wasn't really a singer. And I know they had later hits with him, like The Lady in Black. And he's the one who sings on that. But he's not half the singer David Byron is.
Yeah, their first couple of albums, they would give him, Ken would sing on like one of the songs on each album. So they would give him a little lead vocal stuff here and there.
Yeah, I think part of the problem is that he was such a dominant songwriter in the band that I think they felt kind of forced to let him do stuff that he probably shouldn't have done. Because I think he was a brilliant keyboard player. I mean, I think that Circle of Hands, the intro to that, is one of the most beautiful keyboard intros I think I've ever heard in a rock song.
And you'd open up the sleeve, you'd open up the Uriah Heep album, and there'd be a whole couple paragraphs of Ken Hensley describing why they recorded this and where they recorded it and why he made this decision. And remember that and reading all through that?
Well, that's actually a little bit pre-me, so I only have it on CD. But I can imagine.
Like you could sit and read all his thoughts about when they recorded this and all this and that. Yeah.
And Lee Kerslake was the drummer for a while in Heep, right?
Right. And Bob.
He was.
Bob Dacey.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was kind of interesting because I never actually thought that Uriah Heep were great technical musicians. And but since he was Ozzy's first drummer, that meant he was a good enough drummer to play with Randy Rhoads, and he's kind of like in the Mount Rushmore of great metal guitars.
I think the drummer the drumming on Diary of a Madman is fantastic. That whole record, the drums sound great.
It's like, so it makes you think that maybe Uriah Heep was holding Lee Kerslake back as a drummer.
Well, I don't really think they have. I don't really think they. I don't know if they had the songs or. I don't really. Some bands don't require you to go and be the player. You know what I mean? Like sometimes it's not called for. Like, I don't know.
Well, yeah,
but they were a good enough band where when Ozzy needed some guys in his band, Sharon was able to steal those guys out of Uriah Heep.
Them.
Yeah. And they weren't like green musicians that have never been on stage or in a studio. They've had years and years of rehearsal,
Well, yeah, it's funny you should say it, because in terms of like what's required of a musician, like one of my favorite bands is Danzig, and they demand almost nothing of Chuck Biscuits in terms of technical skillfulness, but his drumming is the right sound for the band. Guys, you've heard me say this to you before, dude. What I love about Danzig is that there's absolutely nothing in that album that doesn't belong there. It is pure. And
I wouldn't know anything from Danzig except Mother, except now I hear
Dirty
something Black Summer, whatever the hell they sing. And I have no
Dirty
idea
Black Summer.
Okay, that one and something
Dirty
Twist of
Black
Cain.
Summer.
And Twist of Cain.
Well, his first 3 solo albums, Danzig, the first Danzig, that has those 2 big hits you just mentioned, Mother and Twist of Cain. And then Danzig 2 is actually amazing album. It's a phenomenal album. It's one of those few albums I've ever heard that just kind of tore my head off the first time I heard it. And then the third one, How the Gods Kill, and it's a little bit more polished than Danzig 2. And after that, his music started becoming a little bit more formulaic, and I stopped listening. But I would say between those 3 albums, those are 2 albums that would be a credit to anyone because they're so good. And they're just straight ahead rock music. You know what you're going to get. And, all the players are really skillful. They don't do anything to try to fool you. I love it. And that's
I can't say I've ever listened to it. I've never heard. Other than, like I said, other than Mother, and recently I've heard 2 other songs by him. I don't think I've ever listened to Danzig. But I'm not a huge fan of his voice. So that's where it was like, if you liked his voice, I could see where people would be drawn to it. And not to say that I don't think it's a good voice. I'm just saying, certain voices draw you in, certain ones don't. I got out of hard rock for a while. So I was listening to I listen to everything, from Steely Dan, Black Sabbath, Devo. I'll listen to it all. So when so to me, I always say it's got to be above grade. You know what I mean? So you're right. He would be a band I would other than Easy. Like when I heard Easy Living on the radio, I'm like, all right, this kind of reminds me a little bit of like a harder version of the Moody Blues. That's what it sounds like to me. Easy living. I'm sitting there thinking, breathe deep. For I just shat my pants. I don't know what the hell he said after. Oh, is that what it is? I thought he said, breathe deep. I just shat my pants.
Let me ask you guys a question. You were mentioning drummers that what is a song that you can think of where the song is cruising along and everything's just cruising along nicely, and then the drummer, for some weird reason, does some crazy drum roll or something that just seems like it just doesn't fit and it kind of ruins the song for you?
Neil Peart, YYZ. There's one part that just sounds like it's a train wreck. Maybe it was intended. I know if you know what I'm talking about. There's a Philly does, and he comes in on the beat, but it sounds like he's stumbling downstairs getting there.
That's a ballsy call, Krelba. Because I've been very vocal that I'm not a huge Neil Peart fan. I like those. I think he's the best drummer in Rush, and I think he does great. But no, and I don't even mean that.
John Rutsey.
He's better than John Rutsey. I think he's great for what he does. But if someone said to me, listen, you could take 10 drummers out on the road, he wouldn't be one of my 10.
I like how he tried branching out. He was kind of stiff. He tried doing jazz stuff. He was a little too stiff for jazz.
Well, I think he wanted to learn to swing. You know what I mean? So he took that guy, Fred, whoever Vinny Colaiuta used to take from that old the drum.
Yeah.
But I'm
not going to remember.
I'm not going to. So you say YYZ. Adam, can you come up with one? A song that the drums just throw you off in the middle of the song?
In the middle of the song, I'm thinking of a Motley Crue song, and I'm trying to remember the name, because sometimes Tommy Lee sounds like he's building a shed.
Right.
And it'll come. I think it's off the Dr. Feelgood album.
I wouldn't know it then.
Dun, 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 Wild Side. Dun, 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 bum, bum, bum. There's a lot in Wild Side going on where there's some crazy drum fills.
You know what song throws me off is Mean Streak by Y&T. Because you know at the end of the song when he's like, they come to the stop and then he goes, she's on a me. I don't know what time they come in on, but I cannot count to see where the hell that comes in.
It's a pickup note, and it's a pickup, but it doesn't really.
Instead of it's like a 2 count or a 1. It doesn't make any sense because it's like, and then it's like, and I count. I'm like, and then he already comes. I'm like a 1, 2, and he comes in like on 2 and I'm like, where the fuck is this? Like, I don't know if they actually did it right. And then somebody was like, yeah, we could take a couple of seconds off this song and just take that drum and put it in at some arbitrary, but it bothers me that I can't count that fucking
listen,
drum.
I know what you're talking about, though.
Yeah. And I fucking love Y&T. Don't Stop Running. Friggin' awesome. Summertime Girls. Come on. I love the band. And I love Mean Streak. It just bothers me when they stop and I can't count in. I'm like, where's this count? It bothers me.
Anyways, now that we're mentioning this,
no, I love the song.
What about
Leo? I love this. I love Mean Streak. Love it.
Is there some Led Zeppelin where John Bonham is just like
never
listen to headphones? Not with the fills, but on those recordings, I can hear the friggin' bass drum pedal squeaking all the time.
Right, or the hi-hat pedal
on a lot of them.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Bonham, to me, the guy's perfect. Like, I just love his groove. In My Time of Dying, to me, is the drum fucking song of the century. His drumming on that one song, to me, I'm like, you want to learn how to play drums? Go play that song and come back to me.
What about Black Dog? Is the drumming sort of the way that it kind of falls off?
Switches the time.
Well, no, it's actually the way that Page wanted it to go, because Jimmy actually had to tell him how to come in on that turnaround there, because it's a strange time song. So, I mean,
yeah.
No, I think it's perfect. I think Bonham's, he's flawless. So good.
The ocean, you can hear the bass drum squeak. The pedal.
Oh, I'm sure. I mean, those recordings, some of those recordings, they're putting a fucking microphone in a room with a drum kit.
Yeah.
Today you go in, they got 50 mics on every drum. Back then they got one mic in the center of the fucking hallway at Headley Range.
Seriously, no one had WD-40
Headley
or something to oil that friggin' thing. It's like they had to be listening to headphones. That friggin' thing.
Well, in the song Whole Lot of Love, in the center part of Whole Lot of Love, you can hear the hi-hat when he's tapping up and down.
Well, there's a tape bleed. There's all
everything.
kinds of bleed from when they erased something, and it bleeds in. That's why you hear like the echoing and stuff coming in. That's actually from another recording of it.
And sometimes they put instruments on the same as the vocal track. When Plant wasn't singing, they'd have instruments on the vocal track too sometimes.
But those records still sound fucking great.
Oh, no doubt.
In fact, the other night I went to bed listening to Physical Graffiti, and I'm like, man, when you get to like In the Light, it's fantastic. That whole from In the Light down.
I like one.
That's a. The Wanton song's another great drum one. Just great. Yeah, I'll tell you. So there's a song by UFO called "I Ain't No Baby." In the beginning of the song, they play it at one tempo. They play the intro in the middle of the song, and it is like somebody's been doped. It's like from the old, how long you been a spy, Harry? It is like you've been drugged. It is so slowed down. I'm like, what is going on with this band? Their tempos are all over the place. Hey, Donnie, how are you, sir? Cantankerous D is Donnie.
Nice name.
Oh, yeah. Please a local.
Yeah, I don't know. UFO, they just kind of bug me. I just don't think they're that good. And I'm like,
I never followed them. I like Michael Schenker afterwards. The solo.
I love Michael Schenker. I love MSG. I like the music to UFO. I just think the melodies are just not so. Doctor, please. Like, I hear those melodies and I'm like, who would sing along to this? This is not, there's not a melody here. These are not songs.
yeah,
I don't know what that guy's name. I just don't
have
understand. But I do
have
think,
kind of like a story,
but I do think Obsession is a perfect album. I love Obsession by UFO. I think that record is fantastic. I can't make one other than the fact that Ain't No Baby slows down in the intro in the midsection. I love that record. In fact, I like Lights Out, the album, but the melodies on that record still are bad. But I think Obsession's a perfect record.
I like the ballad on Lights Out. Try Me. The song's called Try Me. That's a cool one. It's a little love ballad.
Oh, here's
I don't eat Chinese food.
Here's somebody commenting. Where does everybody put Zeppelin in their list of bands?
For me, it's number one.
So if you had to spend a year on a deserted island and you were allowed to take one record with you or one artist with you, you're saying you would take Led Zeppelin with you?
If I could take one album, it would probably be Physical Graffiti. But if I could take,
I'm leaning.
Zeppelin would be my band. Huh. Am I bringing a guitar with me because I could dissect? Like, the cool thing about Zeppelin is learning those parts.
Because if I could take one album, I'd probably take Volume 4.
Great record.
You know what? We'd probably be better off not taking one that we like because we listen to it over and over and we'd end up hating the songs.
That's my whole point. One album. I listened to Physical Graffiti so many times, I don't think I could get sick of it.
Yeah, but
I would use Supernaut as my wake-up song, so I actually have a reason to get up in the morning. Otherwise, I'd probably just like pass out from boredom if I was on a desert island by myself.
What was the movie where Matt Damon was stuck up on Mars for a little while, and all he had with him was a collection of disco? The Martian. He had a collection of disco with him.
That's tough.
Yeah. But then once he got back to Earth, he would never have to listen to disco ever again. Yeah, if you take
you said Disintegration for the one album. That's another album he couldn't get sick of. I can't get sick of that record. Thing with me, if you took Zeppelin's catalog, you could have a blast just spending a year on an island. You're going to be able to learn every little thing that he did, and there's so much stuff in what Jimmy did.
But then a year later, when you got off the island, you'd never want to hear that album ever again.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't think so.
So that's why having
you say you listen to it a lot, Dave. But I mean, if you're on a desert island, that's the only thing you've got to listen to
every day.
That and eating coconuts and bananas.
Let me ask you this question: where am I getting power on this island?
You got batteries.
Okay, how many? A year supply of batteries?
They're going to give you a skid.
I'm also
going to have a bicycle that you can hook up to a battery.
I'm going to have a little solar thing in a battery.
I got a year supply of batteries. I got a Broyhill fucking dinette set, and I have a suit by Botany 500. Looks like I got all my things on my island from Wheel of Fortune, 1978.
Oh. Actually, if you're going to be on an island with just one band, You don't want Led Zeppelin because they maintained the same quartet of players. You want a band that's gone through a lot of personnel changes. That way, you're
That's
going to get a lot
true.
of changes in the sound of the band.
Or
So you're
different
actually,
lead singers. Yeah.
yeah. So
Oh,
you're
here's a
actually
great
better off with
Bendeo.
What about the
Rainbow.
Beatles collection? Wouldn't you rather
No,
have the
Bendeo
Beatles
says you're
collection?
on a desert island. Would you take the Stones over the Beatles or the Beatles over the Stones?
Beatles,
Beatles.
hands down.
Yeah.
How long am I on the island for?
A year.
1 year.
I'll take
exactly
the
1 year.
Stones. And for one reason only. There's a lot of stuff I haven't uncovered by the Stones. So I would at least I've listened to every Beatles album. I mean, there's 13 albums. I've listened to every one of them 100 times. So I could clearly be like, all right, I couldn't tell you I know Beggar's Banquet that well, Satanic Majesty, Aftermath. I mean, there's a lot of records I'd be like, this is new to me.
Stones just never did it for me. There's a few songs I like, but
Okay, guys, what instead of taking an album,
The
with
Blue
you,
Nile
you
hats,
could
Hugh.
you could take your acoustic guitar. What would you rather do? Take your guitar or take an album?
Guitar.
Guitar.
Oh hell yeah!
the creativity would be great with nothing
It
else
would.
around and stuff. It's like, yeah, you're going to be playing for a whole year. As long as you get a tape recorder with it to record everything that you play so you can listen to it afterwards and pick up everything.
Hugh Caldwell says, what's the greatest album of all time? Perfect album of all time.
Ooh. It
What
would
do you
have
got, guys?
every song.
Dark Side of the Moon's up there.
Yeah.
For me, it's this. The Blue Nile hats.
Blue Nile.
If I had one album, I'd probably take Ozzy Osbourne Tributes to Randy Rhoads.
Jesus. Oh, wow.
That's the sweep.
Because when I think of perfect album, I think of one that I can listen to, not think one song is bad on it. And I'm a big Queen fan, but you know, a lot of Queen albums have clunkers.
What's that chord?
The Cars' first album, perfect.
Actually, somebody was picking a Scorpions Blackout. If I was going to pick a Scorpions album, I would take In Trance.
Wow.
Dynamite! I used to love Dynamite.
So did Jimmy Walker.
Ah, that's terrible.
They even had a song called the Arizona, a little tribute to
Arizona
being out here in
really
Arizona.
was a blast on the Blackout album. Yeah, Andy D on Ramble On. Yeah, I was just trying to remember that second chord.
Hey,
Okay,
guys,
you're
I
on.
think I'm going to have to log off now.
And now,
Dave, thanks for having me.
Oh, you're out of here?
Yeah, I think I got to go.
All righty. Thank you, Adam, very much for hanging out, everyone. Adam Mantell.
Good
Nice
seeing
meeting
you,
you
man.
guys.
And he has a channel on YouTube. Go follow him on YouTube. I'll post your link before the end of the night. All right, very good. Thank you, Adam, for coming on.
Good night.
later.
Might have to consider the Eagles, too.
So he lives next door to you?
Yeah.
Well, ain't that he's a guitar player. He's into music. He does a YouTube channel. And
Well, what's funny is he came over one day because Moses keeps coming over. And so they want to see who the hell's Moses hanging out with while I'm sitting here smoking cigars. So he came over one day and he's wearing a Paranoid shirt. I'm like, oh, you're a Sabbath fan? So he started talking. He sat down next to me. I was smoking a cigar. I said, you realize you keep coming over here. You're going to be smoking soon.
What kind of content does he do?
I think original music.
Oh wow.
Something's out. Oh, wait, what about The DR 500 is excellent. I have an EF 500. The DR is just the Dreadnought version. What is that there? That is a
It's a Grudge.
nice.
E100 CE.
I know BuzzFeed says that Portishead Dummy is a perfect album. I like the album.
Perfect. Perfect.
There's some good stuff on
Crossroads.
that. Rumors, Fleetwood Mac.
You know what's funny about that song is it's also the Poison song. Give me something to believe in.
Oh, it's a million.
There's a Lord above.
How about this one?
Yeah.
You sang down, 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 to the corner of your life. Spend an instant coming with me. And you should let with loving care.
Is that your turn? Was
Yourself. Right? It's a lot of songs. How about Hey, have you ever tried really reaching out for the other side? I may be climbing on rainbows, but baby, here goes. Killer stuff, man.
that thing resonates?
I met a gentlewoman. She said that any love is good loving.
What is that chord though? It's like
Bachman Turner overweight.
oh, hold on, Joe's here. Welcome back.
You missed me?
Your dreams were your ticket.
Who are you again?
Exactly.
Yeah, right.
Everything all right? DeRuse?
Yeah, I put him to bed a little early, but I had to clean up some stuff. You know,
All right.
you know how it goes.
I do. We were breaking out. I was playing Hugh Fascination Street.
You're playing it in C, right?
A B minor. I'm in B minor. What model Gretsch is that, Dane?
It is a G 100 CE.
Hey, what does the G stand for?
I always played Fascination Street in C.
Oh, really? I just always assumed it was B. But after that C, but the second time you go, the second time it's just a D. No, you're playing an E flat both times. It's the second time it's a D. No, like this. Watch.
Oh.
Yeah, the second time it's the D. That's it. Right. Yeah. Oh, it's killer. Great record. Though it's opening night, but I don't think that's a bass that does that. It's a bass 6. It's opening night down on Fascination Street. Can't be responsible for quite what goes in, or to care what comes out. Put on your face, pull on your powder. Oh, fucking killer record. That would make me. I could listen to that every day on a desert island and smile.
Yeah.
And there's great songs that don't get played a lot. Prayers for Rain's a great tune on that album.
Radio always plays the same damn songs.
It's so pathetic. And you know, Sirius is getting just as bad now. I notice every time I put Sirius Satellite on, I'm listening to a fucking DJ talk. I'm like, aren't I paying this to not hear you talk? There's always some asshole sitting there talking. It's like, oh, well, Ozzy in the news today. I'm like, I don't want to hear the news. I want to hear you fucking play songs and shut the balls up. In fact, they don't even need people there. Just play. So now I'm listening to Pandora.
The only time I got Sirius Radio was when I got my car in 2007.
Here, Pandora. And I'm washing my clothes in Safe. Or was it Best? What did the Brady Bunch settle on? Was it Safe or Best? Does anyone know what the actual end result was?
What was that?
I think it was Safe. Didn't they wash their clothes in Safe?
I gotta look that up.
I don't know.
And then they wanted them to use Best? Because the episode when Bobby saves Pandora, he gets his clothes all dirty. Never mind, folks. This is... You know what I'm talking about, Dane. You're a Brady fan. I would say I love you if you thought that it would. Ah, great tune. Oh, anyways, next week, guys, we're going to have a guest. Chuck Scherzer is coming on. Now, Chuck is a power lifter who has a bench of, I think, 785, something insane like that. However, this guy is a huge music fan, and he sparks the greatest conversations on Tuesday nights. Krell, if you want to come down tomorrow night, he'll be there. We have some of the funnest music conversations with this guy. And I said to him,
Was that at the Ash?
Yeah. I said, I got to get you on the show because, Tuesday, we 7 to 9:30 we're there. That's it. And he has some of the great, and so I said, I got to get you on the show because the guy's questions on music and the questions he asks are so great and interesting from a music fan. Oh yeah, no, he trained with a guy named Louis Simmons, and he'll talk about it if you guys want him to. Louis Simmons is this guy in Ohio that was like the big powerlifter guy. My buddy Mark Bell used to train there, and actually Chuck knows Mark. So it was a small world type of thing that happened when I met Chuck. But anyways, and him and Ryan, they work together, and two great guys. We're going to have both of them on, Chuck and Ryan. I'm not sure if I know Ryan's last name off the top of my head today, but I will know it when I post it. But both great guys. Have them on. We'll be talking music, and Ryan's a lot younger, so it's kind of cool to get that younger perspective from someone. He's like in his early 30s or mid 30s. Exactly. Yes, Andy. Yeah. So yeah, Louis Simmons. He passed away, I think, a couple of months ago. But yeah, and
The guy
my buddy Mark.
Next week passed away.
That'll be next week.
Ago?
What's that?
The guy coming on the show next week passed away a few months ago.
No, Louis Simmons, the guy who trained him. He's the powerlifting trainer.
Now that would be a show.
Yeah, we're Zooming him, and we're going to ask him. No, not Ryan from the Midwest. Although I talk to Ryan constantly, but just about stuff with Bingham and Bingham's new job and everything else. But yeah, my buddy Mark had a bench of over 800, and but now Mark is all lean again. He decided to thin down and looks great. But anyways, yeah, West Side Barbell, that was it. And so Chuck's going to come on with Ryan. It'll be a fun show next week, I promise you. It's
wild stuff.
Weird, wacky stuff. Yeah, tomorrow like I said, I'm meeting with them tomorrow because we smoke cigars we call the cigar club that we meet together on Tuesday, the See You Next Tuesday Club. We're all a bunch of cunts. That's just, hey.
The C word.
Demonetized.
So, so it's fun. His favorite is Enya. He loves Enya, and he loves Enya's sister. What was it? Clannad. Right, the band Clannad. Or is that going too deep? Hugh would know what I'm talking about, I think.
Well, I remember the name of the band. They're like new age stuff, right?
No, Clannad was an Irish band.
Yeah.
They had that song Harry's Theme, and Enya was the sister. I think she was originally in Clannad, and before they became like a bigger band, she left and
Enya
went
was
solo.
new age, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
but she was Irish. Really, 20 pounds, Hugh? Isn't it? Is Stone 20 pounds, or is it 16? How much is How much is a stone?
13 pounds, I think.
I thought it was maybe 14. Somebody find out what the Old English. Apparently, Hugh Caldwell isn't living past the 1400s, and he still talks in stones.
14. You're right.
14 pounds. Oh, yeah, go ahead, Elroy. Yeah, I don't know. Ryan's been around. Like I said, he's in my. Ryan Bingham and I have a Facebook messenger group that, let me tell you, they're not shy to keep yapping in. I think I deleted the last conversation. It was from this morning. They were waking me up this morning. Yeah, I deleted it. Yeah, no. So 14. You lost 14 pounds, huh? Doing your walk.
Walk was to Ruby's takeaway, and then he lost 14 pounds. And
Be nice.
Be nice. All right, give me 1 sec, guys. I gotta hit the head. I'll be right back. The show is ours.
So, Joe, what have you been watching lately?
Let's see. What I watched last night. Damn, I don't remember.
You see the Terminal List with Chris Pratt?
No, is that any good?
That's actually very good. It's very good.
I'm sad that my Friday nights aren't going to have new episodes of The Boys, because that was just unbelievable this season. With what's his name is Soldier Boy.
Yeah, Ackles.
He's kind of right.
He's great.
You finally get what you want, and now you blink.
Well, not to give away spoilers and stuff, but I mean, like he held up his end of the bargain.
Yeah,
and Butcher betrayed him.
Yeah, he did. He did, and
and the look on his face is like, what the heck you doing? Yeah, and,
I hope they bring him back as a character. I know in the book.
Oh yeah, well he is coming back because I mean they put him on ice, but he's still a weapon.
Yeah, that is nice. What is that?
Les Paul special.
Oh, that's nice.
Is that a matte finish?
That's what it looks like. I'm thinking
it is.
Yeah. That is nice.
P90s.
P90s soap. The old soap.
That's why, like, when Gibson, they have these ornate Les Pauls and stuff. I like the simpler ones like this. Just
is the body smaller than a normal? Because it looks.
It's a Les Paul special, so yeah, I would say it's kind of small and kind of thin and flat top.
Did Better Call Saul, the new ones went up tonight? Oh, and I was going to smoke a cigar after this. It depends. If it's still raining out a little bit outside, there won't be many bugs, I'll go smoke.
Yeah, we got a line of storms coming through in a couple hours, but you should have enough time.
No, I want the storm. I want it to rain.
Oh, okay. Well, that's right. You're in the garage.
Just sit in my garage.
It rained here last night really good. I mean, we had microbursts that blew over a couple of mobile homes, and we had some great rain here last night. First time like all summer.
Nice.
You know what I always watch on Tuesday nights?
Last week's episode, I thought they were on break.
I always watch Steve Martin and Martin Short have a TV show, and it's called Murders, Only Murders in Our Building. And so it's these two comedians, and they're doing a live podcast kind of thing about, people have been getting murdered in their building where they live in New York. And Steve Martin's an old retired movie star, and Martin Short is an old retired director of, Broadway plays or something. And they have a podcast, and it's called Only Murders in the Building. And it's on every Tuesday is the new episode on Hulu. And so that's what I've been watching.
Is it good? Or
I'm totally into it for some strange reason. I'm not really sure why, but
Steve Martin, I mean, like, he's done great stuff, and he's done
Steve Martin and Martin Short. So yeah.
I got 2 episodes of Better Call Saul to watch tonight. Unbelievable.
Well, you know what? I just remember what it was, Krellba. Last night I watched the season finale of Ms. Marvel on Disney.
Are you actually watching that?
Yeah, I like it.
Phase 4.
Well, not, but I was reading that comic book when it was out years ago.
The MCU.
Krellba, you see the weather for tomorrow? It's going to be in the 90s for the next few days.
Yeah. I'm actually air conditioner's not in yet. I'm probably going to put it in tomorrow. Finally.
The last 2 weekends down here were brutal.
Robbie Coltrane story here.
Now, what does that say? Blues Hank?
Blues Hawk.
Blues Hawk.
That's
Blues
nice.
Hank.
I don't like the FOs unless it's on like the old, 335s.
That guitar belongs to Blues Hank.
Is that a Gibson?
Yes.
Yep. Gibson Blues.
Let me see that bridge. That bridge looks like the BB King bridge. Oh no, it's not. It's terrible. I mean, that's a good bridge.
It's terrible.
I didn't build this thing. I'm just trying to sell it. So.
Oh, somebody put that together? I thought it was a Blues Hawk.
No, it's the Blues Hawk, but now Epiphone has the Nighthawk,
right?
Which has the 3 pickups. So Gibson's is the Blues Hawk.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Who makes the Chicken Hawk?
Who puts the bomb? Shabomb.
Shabomb.
What else, gents? We have 6 minutes on the old clockaroonie here. What else do we have?
We had a death this week in the music community. You probably won't know his name, and I'm having trouble. Monty Norman passed away.
Oh, Monty passed?
Yes.
I have no idea who that is.
Well, I thought you might. Anyways, he was the composer of the James Bond theme.
All right.
He was 94. Passed away
Really?
July 11th. But that was the only notable one this week. I mean, the less the better.
Yeah. Yes, that's well, we wish Monty Norman's family all our condolences.
And same to Monty Capoletti as well.
That's Rodney and
browsing.
That's Rodney and Easy
browsing.
Money.
Yeah.
Hey, it's my wife.
That's a
Nikki.
great movie in itself. It doesn't get enough love.
Fantastic.
Doesn't get.
Oh, yeah.
Nikki, that's my daughter.
The best was
that
the
girl-
party
that
in the
girl
backyard.
That girl
fucking great.
practicing violin in the kitchen there. It's like aggravating. She actually became a concert violinist.
Do you guys ever remember the movie that goof on Scream? What is the movie that goofs on Scream? It's like the comedy.
Just another movie.
Scary
another
movie.
teen
Movie.
Scary movie.
Scary.
One of them, they do a spoof on War of the Worlds. Remember the War of the Worlds with Tom Cruise?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the woman goes out and like all the sheets are moving, just like in the movie when the wind was coming. And she screams, "Does anyone own a fucking dryer?" I thought that was the funniest bit in the movie. Because in War of the
Watch
Worlds,
this.
like everyone's drying their sheets in the back, and the woman comes out and she screams, "Does anybody here own a dryer?"
Yeah, I know. Who hangs on a clothesline anymore?
Right. I thought that was the funniest fucking thing. Oh,
Ooh.
Joe does.
Because I'm not buying a dryer for this house.
Does anyone own a fucking
my apartment
dryer?
came with
Possibility.
my apartment came with the laundry room, so
I heard you guys
What
doing a
is that
little
guitar
Rodney,
there? Let me see that
little
headstock.
Rodney,
What was-
a little Rodney Dangerfield joke.
excellent.
a Jackson.
Me and my wife have
nice.
agreed only to smoke after having sex.
Right. I quit. She's up to 5 packs a day or something like that.
Yeah.
Love Diaz. Love Diaz. You love thy neighbor. What? I gotta jerk him off too.
Hey, I tell you, it ain't easy. I
But
tell
she's
ya.
up to 3 packs a day.
Next thing you know, I'll be doing card tricks, weather reports.
Yeah, you watch the compilation of him on Carson.
Oh, it's the best.
This is a Mick Thompson from Slipknot signature model
Yeah, that's cool.
from Jackson.
Nice.
He
And
played
this
Jackson?
has a hard tail Floyd. It's locked
What the hell's a hard
down.
tape?
It's locked down. There's
Oh.
no place to insert a whammy bar in this. It is bolted in.
Oh, it's just,
and
oh,
it's
that's
locked
cool.
Down here, it's locked.
It's like a Floyd that was designed to not have a bar on it.
Oh, I like
It's
I like the way he thinks.
Mick
no
Thompson,
slippage.
Slipknot.
You can beat the piss out of it and it would stay in tune. I like the idea.
Yeah, and you got
Yeah.
the fine tuners too, so you don't have
Nothing
to
on
go
the back.
tweaking with those high gear tuners all the time.
Yep, no cavity or anything in the back.
Yeah.
It's got EMGs in it.
All right.
It's got
I
these
tell you, I wouldn't
weird
deal with the
fret
EMGs, but
markers
the
on
fact that it has a
top.
battery thing.
Weird fret markers.
You can see him. That's the whole thing.
Yeah, you can.
Well,
see them.
I could never understand how people play guitars without fret markers, because
Right.
I mean, like if I'm in my living room or something, I feel kind of comfortable doing it, and I can go from dots on top of the. But if you're on a stage and if your lighting guy doesn't know what the hell they're doing, sometimes there's moments where the lights just go out and just dark for a second, and it's
I
like,
can't see anyway. I'm blind. But this
Yeah.
guitar here, I've taken this guitar out. It has no dots, and I have a couple of guitars with no dots.
Hmm.
The side dots for me are enough because I'm not looking over.
Yeah,
like
I'm
that,
fine with
but-
the side
Right.
dots, but I mean, like if I lose the side dots for some reason, I can get lost pretty quick.
The new Ernie Ball guitar that just came out this year, they've built a guitar where the fretboard is kind of leaned in towards you. It's kind of leaned this direction. So when
Weird.
you're setting or even
The
standing,
wrist doesn't need
the
to be doing
fretboard
that.
is more in this direction like this. So
That's
you
weird.
can look down and see it. Yeah.
Why don't I
would
just play
say-
lap steel?
Yeah, right.
I mean, ergonomically, that's kind of a nightmare. You don't want to be twisting your friggin' wrist up more than it has to.
Yeah, you're going to be.
If
kinda
anything, you're
down
better
this
off
way
facing
more.
it the other way a little and
Yeah,
not seeing the fretboard.
Yeah, maybe so, but we'll see what happens with their sales numbers. It might be the latest and greatest thing.
Good, Steve Vai come
And
up with it.
nobody's going to buy it. Yeah,
Yeah, he's always the one coming up
no,
with
I
these
don't think it
wacky
was
things.
Steve, but
They go, I'm going to get knocked off by the phone's alarm.
it might be more of John Petrucci's kind of idea, being with Ernie Ball.
What was that, Joe?
The phone's alarm is going. Ah, jeez.
All right. Well, anyways, guys, it's 10 o'clock. So you know what we like to do? We like to call it right at 10. Jose Feliciano had a hard time seeing fret markers. You're not kidding about that.
Feliz Navidad, the worst song ever written. That every Christmas time I want to.
I always
Police
liked
told
Jose
my
Feliciano.
car. Police
Oh, I like
told my
him,
car.
just not Feliz Navidad.
I want to wish you a... Okay. It's going to be too hot tomorrow for that kind of stuff. What's on your agenda this week, gents? Anything? Let's give a quick rush. Anything going on with you at the store?
No, just the
Exactly,
same old
Hugh.
kind of thing. Just hanging out every day, trying to flip some of these guitars. I counted my inventory a few days ago, and I have 285 guitars that I own in here.
All right, folks, you heard him. If you're in the Arizona Phoenix area and you're interested in a guitar, go visit Zim's Guitars. You want to say your address?
Thank you so much. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Here we go.
They're located at
Washington.
I can't read it. They're located at
Alma School.
folks, I'm gonna vomit.
I know. I'm so shaky. I'm like,
Just read it. Just read it. Dane, just
Zim
read it.
Guitars on Alma School and Guadalupe in Mesa, Arizona. 1305 West Guadalupe, suite number 1.
So this weekend, Andrew Collins, I'll be playing 2 live shows, but we'll get to that. We'll get to that. All righty. Also, Joe, if you can you go to Adam Mantell's YouTube page and post his link for me?
Who?
Adam Mantell. Adam, the guy who was on Adam. It's Mantell.
One Adam Mantell.
And Krell, what do you have going on this week? If you want to come tomorrow, Krell, it's a good time. Tuesdays I like. I haven't gone on Sundays in a while.
Taking a ride up to Matt sometime this week. Pick up that Epiphone I have on consignment and try selling it locally.
Well, let me know if you do.
Up there for almost a year.
Not on Tuesday, but Wednesday I'm around.
All right, keep that in mind.
Yeah. Thursday. Friday I have a gig. Well, let's get to Joe before I close out. That's his YouTube channel, folks. That's Adam's YouTube channel that Joe's posting. Adam, who was on tonight, if you want to follow his channel, give some love and support. Joe, what do you got going on this week? How's the diet going, Joe? You look like you're losing. You're losing every day.
Yeah, you know what? No, what's helped is that the drinks are like when I was out there with Mike, I made one of my lemonade slushies.
Yeah,
no calories, no carbs, and it's just so filling.
I heard that you were a big fan of the keto ice cream that Krellbach sent you.
I haven't made it yet. You
didn't. You didn't get all 5,000 ingredients that he gave you to.
Right.
No,
5,000 ingredients, 600 carbs.
Yeah, but once you buy the ingredients, the weird ingredients last you a long time. The xanthan gum and stuff.
I don't think I'm ever going to make that. Honestly,
I just made some today.
I got ice cubes, 3 packets of Truvia, a flavoring, no carb, and a half a cup of whipping cream, and it's delicious. What am I going to kill?
No protein in it though.
I'm not having it for protein. Everything else I eat is protein. I'm eating it.
Anyways, Dave, I wanted to bring this up. Couldn't find the Rocket Pop drink at Walmart, but I've been drinking these.
What is it?
Orange cream is good.
Oh, orange cream is excellent.
Oh yeah, it's like you're drinking a cream.
Excellent. Yeah, excellent. I agree. All right, for me, guys, this week I don't have much going on. Friday, I'll be playing at the Liberty and Union Ale House in Taunton, Mass. with Danny Gallagher. Am I going to film it? No. Then Saturday, I'm playing at Martini's in Plymouth, Mass. on Court Street. Will I film it? No.
No.
Why? Because I just think I filmed too many lives. There's 100 of my lives on there. Watch one of the old ones. When there's something special, like when me, Emily, and Jimmy played at that party, that was really cool. So I filmed that. Andy Dion's drinking a Walmart orange cream right now.
Oh, wow.
That's it. The
Join
clear Americana. So, I don't know when I'm going to film it next. Maybe I'll do one in a week or two with me and Jimmy. We've been working on a couple of new tunes, so that might be fun. But for the most part, listen, it's the summer, and I'm just relaxing. As I say to Moses, every time he comes down the mountain with the 10 Commandments.
I bring you 15. 15.
He says,
10.
Play swords with me. Or he brings Hulkbuster over and throws him around. And I say, listen, I'm relaxing. It's the summer. I'm relaxing. Listen, I'm in the gym every day. Oh,
don't play swords with that kid. He'll crack you right on the fingers.
Oh, he will. He's too tough. But I will say this. A few people have reached out to me, a singer that plays in a band, and recently another person that watches my show on Facebook reached out to me and basically was just saying to me that they may also need some diet assistance and whatnot. If anyone has any questions, feel free to email me. My email is on the front of the page if you had any questions of anything like that. Anything of that nature. I'm still not at my goal. I'm at 205 still, although my body is changing, obviously. I'm much leaner. I saw Angelina today, Cheat. She's doing well. Hulkbuster, yeah.
Did anything happen? Or?
No, Angelina's
Or
fine.
just-
He's just asking
okay,
how
okay.
she is. So, but yeah, so that's basically all that's going on with me is I'm hitting the gym and I'm trying to stay healthy, you know, clean living.
You were trying.
And, yeah, I mean, I smoke cigars, and that's what I call my cheat meal. That I look at as like food now. I'm like, I'll have a cigar instead of, you know, I was talking to someone today, and I'm like, I really, if there was no women on the planet, I'd be walking around like Run DMC. I'd have a thing of necklaces, of candy necklaces around my neck. I'd have a ring pop on every finger. I would look, and I'd be 450 pounds. Unfortunately, that's not the case. So I could not hear your lead. Yeah, on the Kiss song? What Kiss song? Did we play a Kiss song? Thoroughly enjoy your live shows. Thank you, Midnight Strummer. I appreciate it. Listen, I appreciate you guys all. I wouldn't have you over for dinner, but I'll tell you what, keep watching my shit. No, I'm kidding. You 109. What do you weigh now, Krellbar?
240.
You put on 47 pounds.
Yeah, since last summer.
All right. Because Joe
I
thought you
felt
put
that
on
way.
50. He was on
I'm
like
working.
I didn't say that. The hell you even
I'm
call it?
working on getting down again. I mean, like the whole thing, I can't get down to 193 again. I mean, that time we met at Rosie's, whatever, I'm looking at that picture and I look like I'm about to keel over.
Well, you did look a lot like Terry Kaiser in Weekend at Bernie's.
Yeah.
Where I thought I was going to. That's a joke, folks. But anyways, Krell, listen, you look good no matter what. I would just suggest maybe buying a razor and
You
shaving
look
that.
marvelous.
Shave that thing down. Whatever it's just it looks unkept. What's going on there? It's growing at like different lengths. That mustache looks longer. The mustache looks like it belongs on Doug Henning. And then the beard is falling behind.
Yeah, it is. Actually, I have the goatee and then the sides are.
I see what happened. All right. Same bat time next Monday. Again, our guests will be Chuck Scherzer and Ryan. I forget Ryan's last name, folks. Forgive me. Forgive me, Ryan. I will post it when it comes up, when I do post the screenshot thing. And anyone else? Is that it? We're going to call it a night. We're going to say good night. Everyone else have nothing else to say?
Goodbye, Ted.
Good night.
All right.
Everyone.
Well,
Good night.
let's see what Warren has to say.
Okay, goodbye, Ted.